What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Infamously Speaking. I'm Matt Rosa, back here with another quick reaction to what we just saw. Knicks at Celtics Game 5 going in. This was the chance for the New York Knicks to close out the series, stamp their tickets to the Eastern Conference Finals, which they haven't been in over 20 years, to face the Indiana Pacers. Or it was Boston's opportunity to show a lot of grit, toughness, and resiliency to bounce back after a tough Game 5 loss and after losing Jason Tatum to a ruptured Achilles. And boy, did Boston respond. You got to credit Boston, first and foremost. After a tough loss, they come out with tons of energy and just a level of offensive efficiency that maybe we didn't think that they would have minus Jason Tatum. But maybe not having Jason Tatum on the floor unlocked something in this team in this specific moment. Unlocked a level of ball movement, efficient shot taking, great shot making, which was already there when Tatum was on the floor. But a true team basketball approach. Not just saying it, but having it play on the court. But before we get into that, let's just talk about the flow of the game. Because in the first half, you thought this is exactly what the Knicks would want. It's the first time that they actually started fast, won the first quarter 32-30, haven't led after the first quarter in any game this series. So you're like, whoa, already a win for the Knicks. Going to halftime tied. That hasn't happened. Wow, another win for the Knicks. You got them right where you want them, right? No, you don't have to come back from a 14-point plus deficit like you did in the other three victories that you had. You're tied. You got them right where you want them. Or maybe Boston had the Knicks right where they wanted them because they go out and outscore the Knicks 68-43 in the second half to win by 25 points. Now, the Knicks in the second half look completely disjointed. Absolutely disjointed. Brunson ended up fouling out, and I believe he picked up all of his fouls in the second half, if I'm not mistaken, or 5. KAT constantly in foul trouble, even though that was early in the game. He picked up 3 in the first half, but they just had nothing going offensively in the second half for them. Credit the Celtics defense, but if you look at it, the Celtics efficiency is really what allowed them to pull away from the Knicks. And that lets me go back to what I was saying a little bit earlier when I said maybe Jason Tatum being out unlocked this version of team basketball. So even though Jason Tatum was phenomenal in Game 4, and you can't take anything away from what he did in the performance that he had, single-handedly was keeping the Celtics in the game, the ball wasn't really moving that well, especially in the second half and down the stretch in Game 4. And so when other people had to make shots, they weren't in rhythm and they were missing. This game was a balanced attack. Derrick White put up 16 shots, 7 for 13 from 3, and dropped 34 points. He was incredible. And of course, his normal, amazing defense. Jaylen Brown was not just a scorer, but was a big-time floor general in this game. 26, 12 assists, 8 rebounds, and of course, active on the defensive end. Luke Kornet was phenomenal in this game. The 10 points, 9 rebounds, 7 blocks. He was active on both sides of the ball and was really impressive throughout the entire game. Peyton Pritchard was his normal self, maybe a tick under what you'd expect him to be from 3, but still 17 points. It was nice to see Sam Hauser get some run after he sustained the ankle injury and hasn't played. So it's good to see him get back in the game. Drew a great defense. Al Horford played a really good game. The only person, and of course this has been the concern throughout the entire series, was Porzingis. He was actually the only Celtic to go minus and plus minus today. There's just something off there. But outside of Porzingis, the balanced attack from Boston is exactly what Boston needed, is exactly what the Knicks didn't want to see. They would have been okay if Jaylen Brown went for 40 points, took a whole bunch of shots, and that took away from Derrick White's shot volume or Peyton Pritchard's shot volume, or it made the ball stick to Jalen's hands instead of it flying around, kind of like how it was sticking to Tatum's hand in the end of Game 4 and how it wasn't moving around. And then when it did move around, guys that were asked to take shots weren't really in the flow of the game. Did I think Boston had a chance to win? For sure, right? you have to go out and play the game, right? It's any given game. The Knicks showed us that through the first 4 games of this series. Everybody thought, hey, Knicks drew dead against the Celtics. Great season, but over in 5. And the Knicks stormed back from 2 20-point deficits in the first 2 games and then played big time on Monday in game 4. What this series is showing us is that whatever you think is going to happen probably won't happen. Now, I know that there's experts and Celtics fans, and maybe even some non-Celtics fans, that picked the Celtics to win in this game because of just the emotional boost that they got from going back home with their home crowd and wanting to win for Jason. And that's all well and good. And TD Garden was rocking. TD Garden was rocking tonight. But this is way more than just that. What we saw was an offensive clinic, especially in the second half. Selfless team basketball. This is the Jaylen Brown that everybody wanted to see. This is the Eastern Conference Finals and Finals MVP Jaylen Brown from last year. Not just a bucket and a defender, but capable of being a floor general, facilitator of your entire offense, getting guys great looks both on the perimeter and in the paint. Now the series shifts back to New York. And if you're New York, how do you respond? We talked about this constantly in this series. How do you respond? You knew the Celtics were going to come out with a lot of energy. But guess what? That energy only lasts so long. And if you're the Knicks, you felt good because you were able to withstand that. You were up after 1. First time ever in this series. You were tied at the half. You're finally not trailing by 1,000,000 points. And yet, the game just doesn't slip away from you. It wasn't a slip away. Boston took that. Boston absolutely took that and said, you know what, we're going back to game 6, and you better be ready for game 6 because it's going to be back here for game 7. And anything can happen in the game 7. So now I'm looking at the Knicks. How do you respond to getting punched in the mouth like this? How do you respond to finally playing your best first half in this series, probably, in my opinion, but on both sides of the ball? How do you respond? Who's stepping up? Jalen had 22. Josh Hart had 24. KAT had 19, but like I said, in foul trouble and couldn't really get it going. But Mikal, 9 points. OG, 6 points. Mitchell Robinson was a huge factor in the first half, but once it starts getting blown out like that, you need offense on the floor. Deuce McBride, I thought, played some great minutes, especially in the first half. But you need your starters. If you look at the games the Knicks won, especially if you look at last game, look at the box score. Of course, led by Jalen Brunson's 39. But Mikal, 23 points, was able to keep the Knicks tied up within striking distance while Brunson rested in the fourth. OG, 20 points, but big 3-pointers in the fourth quarter. Great defense. KAT had 23 on efficient shooting, 11 to 15. I mean, this is the distribution that you want to see. Here are the Knicks starters and the amount of shots they put up. Mikal, 11 to 21. OG, 18 to 14. KAT, 11 to 15. Brunson, 14 to 25. Bridges, 23. OG, 20. KAT, 23. Brunson, 39. That is a formula for success. Now let's look at tonight. Mikal, 4 for 14. OG, 1 of 2. KAT, 5 of 11. Brunson, 7 to 17. Josh Hart was 7 to 15. The Celtics are cool if Josh Hart's the one beating you. That's the person you want to beat you. That's no disrespect to Josh Hart. He's a phenomenal player, the glue of that entire team. But if he's beating you offensively, you're going to live with that. You're going to live with the result. But if Brunson's inefficient, and OG is inefficient, and Bridges is inefficient, and KAT can't stay out of foul trouble, you feel good about your chances. And that's exactly what allowed Boston, that plus their incredible offensive playmaking led by Jaylen Brown, is what allowed them to absolutely dominate that second half. It's not win for Tatum. It's not the crowd's energy. That matters in the beginning of the game and maybe in the end of the game when it's close. But the Celtics just thoroughly outperformed the Knicks. And that is what it is. That is what it is. As a Knicks fan, did I want to see a game 6 at MSG? No, absolutely I didn't. You want to close it out. you want to close it out because, like I said, you get to a game 7, it's winner take all. Anything can happen. I mean, look at what happened to the Knicks last year in game 7 against what we thought was a lesser Pacers team. Now, I know before you start yelling at the screen, the Knicks were injured. No Julius, OG with the hamstring. Josh had that core injury. Jalen, of course, ended up breaking his hand. Shot something ridiculous. What was it, like 60-something% from the field, I believe, or something like that was. Anything can happen in a game 7. You don't want it to get there. Tonight was the chance for you to say, hey, it's not going to even get there. We don't have to worry about it. Let's take care of business so we can focus on Indiana. And now you have a Boston team that's won this season series more times at MSG than you have. And now it gets a little spooky. Pressure's back on the Knicks. The moment Tatum went down and the Knicks went up 3-1, the pressure automatically shifted to the Knicks. And then if you're like, hey, if Boston could take one, pressure only ratchets up more. Now, granted, we like the Knicks in pressure situations because they've responded very well all year. But man, it would be nice if for once we could have a no stress, no pressure kind of game and just play free. So what am I looking for in game 6? Well, the first thing is, can the Knicks contain Derrick White's 3-point shooting? He popped off in the beginning of game 4. He popped off in the beginning tonight. The only difference is tonight he didn't slow down because tonight he was never allowed to get out of rhythm. Boston was extremely conscious and making sure that they kept on beating the ball to keep on getting up shots, and Jaylen Brown did a fantastic job of that. So can you keep Derrick White and Peyton Pritchard somewhat in check? 1. 2, can you slow down Jaylen Brown offensively? Not just from scoring the basketball, because that's what he's going to do, but can you force him to start to play some kind of hero ball? Because if you can, then you have a really good chance. Because even if Derrick White and Pritchard start off hot, if he starts playing hero ball, they might go cold just from not touching the ball, not shooting the ball. Is that possible? And then from the Knicks, biggest thing here, can I defend without fouling? Specifically looking at you, Karl-Anthony Towns. Can you defend without fouling? They need a big game from you, and it needs to be we can use KAT whenever we need to use KAT, and not, well, we can only use KAT for about, I don't know, 14 minutes the first half because he's going to be in foul trouble, and then maybe we'll have like 15 minutes the second half. We'll see. He only played 29 minutes tonight on a New York Knicks playoff team coached by Tom Thibodeau. To be a starter and only play 29 minutes, either you're in some serious foul trouble or you are really in the doghouse. And he's not in the doghouse. The Knicks need to get better about defending without fouling. Mitchell Robinson was fantastic. Actually hit his free throws, but we need KAT to be in the game. Really space the floor. Allow Brunson to get inside and then work outside. That's what I'm looking for from New York. And then from Boston, what am I looking for from Boston? Start hot again. Get Derrick White going. Get Peyton Pritchard going. Can Luke Kornet give you another performance like he did tonight? I mean, if so, my goodness, this team is even deeper than we thought. I'm just astounded at 7 blocks. That's the number that sticks out to me. And even he only had 7 blocks, but the amount of shots that he altered was also incredible. That doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Only 9 rebounds, but the amount of times that he was fighting, tipping the ball out to his teammates to be able to get the ball if he couldn't secure the rebound, that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but he was grinding his 26 minutes. Boston, you need a team effort. New York, you need your starters just to be great and defend without fouling. Who do you guys got in game 6? I like the Knicks in 6. I think they bring it back. Let me know who you got in the comments. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Of course, if you enjoyed, please like, comment, rate, subscribe, share the show with friends and family. And as always, think critically, speak infamously. Love.